welcome back to the John and Linetia show. So, Linetia, biggest story this week in the NFL. Not the fact that the Bears beat the Packers on Monday.
Woohoo! The Bears beat the Packers. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit excited.
They busted Aaron Rodgers' collarbone.
Oh, sorry.
And that Josh McCown was great.
Yes,
he was.
He was. And the Bears had not beat them since 2006. Yeah. That's a big deal.
No, it wasn't that. It was all about this guy who's the offensive lineman of Miami Dolphins, a guy named Jonathan Martin, who abruptly left the team before this week's games.
Correct.
And was kind of put on was on leave. Or actually wasn't even put on a list or anything like that. But then it's kind of coming out that the reason he left was because another lineman, a guy named Richie Incognito, pretty much was, people are calling it bullying, but really a lot of it really, they're more calling workplace harassment.
Right, because it's kind of teetering on all these racial remarks that have gone in there too.
Just certain illegal type things. There were certain things that you can say are kind of like extortion, and then there were the racial epithets and the threats, it very well likely could have started out as kind of the typical what happens in the NFL or really all sports is like a rookie comes in and the veterans do a little bit of hazing, but it really sounds like it got out of control.
Yeah, I would think that when you are a newbie on a football team, just like any case, there's times where you're gonna feel like you're not a part of the team yet. That I'm pretty sure there's a lot of that kind of toughen up type thing in the football realm. But again, I think there's always a line between just friendly trying to talk someone up and get them hype for the game compared to saying bad things and insulting someone.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's pretty much come out, I think, mostly because Martin saved voicemail messages and text messages.
Did you hear some of that stuff? It's unbelievable.
Well, we haven't heard as much as we've seen transcripts, okay? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And
pretty
there's a lot of threats, and Martin was in between a rock and a hard place because that kind of an environment. It's not like you run to the coach and say so and so is bullying me.
You've been
here.
a tattletale. They're like, toughen
up,
boy.
Exactly. And the other thing is that a few NFL players are like you should it happens to me. I'm going to punch someone in the face, which is kind of like your solution is violence, huh? It's this weird, wrong-headed way of things.
Well, it's because they're being dudes. They're letting that dude stuff get
and,
up there.
And, he had Martin basically felt like he had no choice, and he just kind of fled. And, you can kind of understand that. I mean, there's some people even who are like, especially football players who are sort of, thinking that, like, Martin had something to blame. And it's weird because it's the blame the victim type thing. It's like the... blame a rape victim because you shouldn't have dressed that way.
Right.
Oh, you shouldn't have
been out late at night.
Martin shouldn't have let it get that far. He should have stood up to Incognito, who like bench presses 600 pounds.
Right.
And it's ridiculous. I think ultimately. I don't know that Incognito's ever going to be playing in the NFL again.
Yeah, because he's been suspended indefinitely.
Yeah,
while they do this investigation. Yeah. And it also came out that he said that the coaches told him, to kind of toughen him up. And here's something else to add to this. We don't know how often this happens too in the NFL, and maybe some people just didn't come out.
Yeah, well, certain stories are kind of leaking out here and there. Nothing.
I mean, they even talked about it at the game.
I mean, the thing Incognito was doing. I mean, like they'll say when it comes to hazing, it's like usually something like you got to get donuts for the offensive line or something like that. But he like forced Martin to like pay $30,000 for a trip to Vegas for a bunch of people, and he's a rookie. That's like almost like a tenth of his salary or something. It was ridiculous, and it's just it's going way too far.
Yeah.
And the stories are coming out that this guy Incognito pretty much has had a history of a certain kind of bullying tactics. And, it likely could have been something that went too far. The coaches could have said something about, toughening, rookies up or whatever like that, and he just took it to a wrong level.
But if they do this investigation and they see that the coaches are involved, the coaches are going to get suspended too.
Yeah. I mean, and we're, right now we're taping this podcast a little earlier in the week, so who knows what might have happened, in the next few days. But, right now it doesn't look good at all. And I never thought that the hazing thing, I always thought that was kind of stupid. It's bizarre because you've got these athletes that all their lives, if you think about it, and you know how it was like in high school, you were hanging with the jocks and dating all of them and everything like that. And no matter where you were in high school.
I was dating jocks?
Weren't you?
No, I was not dating jocks. Oh. I was in the band. I didn't have time.
Oh, you're in the band.
I was in the band. I didn't have
time. Anyway,
no,
but like high school and college, it's like the way the jocks are treated and the way they are, there's a certain kind of, I want to say it's sort of like an arrested development where they're really not as mature as everybody else, And you get to I think these jock, they get to the NFL, and it's weird because it's like you've got to act like an adult now. And you think about any of the like rookies, any players that get to any sports league, and you hear like how they like spend all their money, and they're not they're just not equipped for adulthood really. And especially if you're this jock that has been coddled all your life because you just happen to be good at certain sports, you just don't really know how to act, especially outside of like the jock world. And with the NFL, it's even worse because you've got basically these tough guys. You got these people who think they're tough.
But it's not everybody. So, we're not saying
it's not everybody, but
I
think it's a good generalization where it very well is most. And I always thought the hazing stuff was kind of dumb. It's just like really. I mean, I look at it and I'm like, you're in a professional league and you're doing something that like they do in high school and college.
And think about all this money that you're getting paid to go out there and catch a ball or throw a ball or tackle somebody. It's like you got one of the best jobs.
Yeah, it's not much of a job. Your job is to play a game. And
you are putting that in jeopardy because you find it fun to bully somebody like that.
Well, I mean,
again, I think there's a fine line in between there. There's a line that you just shouldn't.
Yeah, I think ultimately, somebody was bullied who wasn't going to take it, and finally decided, what, I'm out of here. And
but it also makes the NFL look bad.
Well, yeah, it does.
Making them look real bad.
It does. Not to you got on the one hand, you got someone like Aaron Hernandez who is a thug. Again, a kind of a jock who thinks he's above.
God,
he can do anything he wants, and he allegedly kills somebody. Right? He allegedly kills somebody because he, you're talking to, people I don't like. Yeah, I mean, it's so immature.
That's what it says in the news. There was no other explanation.
It's so immature. And here's another case. I mean, it's just immaturity on this level, and it's stunning. It's just like you guys. How about growing up? How about being an adult?
Yeah, I don't understand it. I guess Mr. Incognito is going to stay incognito for a while. Thanks for listening to the Linetia Show.